Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Lewis Glover for Combat Sports UK here with UFC light heavyweight, the Baltic gladiator Modestas Bukauskas, who takes on Zac Pauga in Las Vegas on the 17th of June. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining me.
Doing very well, sir, and thank you so much for having me on, brother.
It is absolutely my pleasure. It's so great to talk to you because last time out you had what was arguably a career best win over Tyson Pedro. Not only did you travel across the world to Perth to fight in his backyard, not only was it your first fight back with the UFC after being cut, and not only was it coming back from a catastrophic knee injury, you were a massive underdog with the bookies as well. You went in there, you broke Vegas, you broke the house. What were the emotions for you after that, man? What was that like?
Yeah, it was mad just because all the odds were just kind of stacked against me. I was kind of sent in there to lose, you know what I mean? It's the hometown guy, you know, he was on a winning streak. It was actually quite a good, like, you know, I thought it was quite an interesting matchup anyways for people because both of us were on win streaks, both having won 2 fights in a row. But, mate, I got there on Wednesday at 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I tried to go to bed, but obviously my body clock was just completely messed up. It was 2 flights as well. I ended up getting a cold because obviously I was, you know, all this bloody airplane air conditioning is just not the one, man. And then, yeah, I had to literally just get my food from the PI, go and train, and then yeah, like on Sunday morning we fought at 10 a.m. My birthday was on the day that I was cutting weight. So I literally turned 29 on. We'll put up a video of like me in like this freaking sauna suit from like literally from the chin all the way down, sweating out like the last couple of pounds on my birthday. And then obviously the next day was the weigh-in. So yeah, it was a mad experience, and as well like going out in front of 14,000 people. You know, being the featured fight on the prelims, you know, a lot of people came to watch. You know, I had Adesanya, you know, telling me, "Yo, good fight afterwards." You know, so it was just again for me, it was nice to see my visions coming true once again. It was nice to kind of, after everything that I've been through, to finally be back in the UFC. I you know, I did let quite a lot of emotions out after the fight because, you know, after everything, you know, we're back where we're supposed to be. It literally felt like home. It felt like where I should have been the whole time. It was just unfortunate what I had to go through. But, you know, looking back at it as well, I think there was many lessons that had to be learned. And I couldn't have done it if it wasn't for such a bad injury and the losses. So I was thankful for everything. So, yeah, as you can imagine, it was a lot of built up, like I say, emotions being released. And I just wanted to show myself, you know, that's why I ended up performing the way I did. I probably could have performed better if I didn't have jet lag and all these other things, but you know, I really loved that it was just like 2 weeks notice. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like it gives you like that thrill, you know what I mean? Like when a fight's coming like very soon, just like now with the Zac Pauga fight, it's like it gives you like a thrill knowing that there's something on the horizon, you know. And I just train all the time. I always stay in shape. I never get too crazy big in between fights. I don't do a Paddy Pimlet, you know. So yeah. It was an absolutely amazing experience, and you know, to see everyone like very grateful to sort of have me back and everything, and you know, people. You know, John Anik coming up to me saying, "Man, like it's so good to see you" and stuff like that. It was just very nice. The whole experience was amazing, and obviously to get the win was literally just the cherry on top of the cake. So yeah,
Brilliant. And did you get a chance to kick around Perth for a few days afterwards, or is it strictly business, in and out, military operation?
literally the most military operation ever. As soon as the fight was over, literally next day we're out of there. The only good thing was because it was in the morning, we kind of had like the rest of the day. They had like a rooftop pool. It's so nice to chill at the pool, you know, getting a tan when you've got a win. Do you know what I mean? Like sitting, drinking beers and do you know what's mad? It's like we were supposed to go to an after party. Like one of the other fighters, Josh Kulabau, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He invited us to all go to like they did like an after party, and they said what time it was and everything, and we were like, okay, look, we're gonna try and grab a quick nap. And I think the event started at like 6 p.m. So we went to sleep at 4. We woke up at 8 p.m. And then by the time we'd like kind of rolled out of bed and like kind of got ourselves sorted, it was like 9:30. And then I just remember like we kind of got ready, and then Will was like, oh, we nah, bro, like we definitely need to go, like, you know, this, because I think the party, I think it because it's a Sunday, it finished at like 11 o'clock. So I was like, it's getting towards 10, bro. I don't think like I could see fighters literally walking back from this party, and was like, no, we can walk it, we can make it. I'm like, nah. And then we ended up literally just going to the shop, buying some whiskey, and just having a couple of shots. Just me, my dad, and freaking Will, just in the lobby. We're like seeing Bisping walk past. Like Will's like, "Hey, yo, Bisping, how's it going?" Bisping looked tired. You know, he had like a bunch of water bottles, and we're just out here freaking drinking whiskey. You know, so yeah, man. I don't even know I can't even remember what the question was, but yeah, it's like is a mad experience, everything from start to finish, bro.
Brilliant. It sounds like certainly you had a good time, and yeah, I can only imagine how great a cold beer in the sunshine after a victory in the UFC taste. Oh my goodness, must be one of the best,
mate.
one of the best beers on the planet.
The most refreshing drinks ever. It tasted like, I don't know, I can't even say it tastes like apple juice, because it, you know, it definitely tastes like fucking beer. But it was good, man. Like I say, the taste of victory is great, but the taste of victory and a beer is that much better. So yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely.
Brilliant. So you're back on the road again. You're going to Las Vegas to take on Zac Pauga in the Apex Center. Just tell us what your thoughts are on this matchup, and you know, will you get to spend a bit of time in Vegas, see the place, maybe go to the PI afterwards as well? What's your schedule looking like for the whole of fight week and the week after, maybe?
So I'm definitely getting there a little bit earlier, because again, I've like I say, I'm very used to having the odds stacked against me, but I'd like there to be a bit less, if you get what I'm saying. So, you know, they usually try and get you there on Tuesday. I'm getting there on Sunday instead. So make sure I give myself enough time to acclimatize to the time and everything, everything like this. So yeah, I'm not really gonna be probably spending too much time. I mean, we're definitely gonna go to the PI, definitely use like the you know, like the facilities and like the steam, I think the sauna, like the jacuzzi and stuff at the plunge pool, you know, like bits and bobs like recovery, and obviously use the cage and stuff. But yeah, man, like this matchup, obviously I got Zac Pauga. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. He fought a heavyweight. Now he's always been a light heavyweight. It's mad because he's always been on my radar, you know.
Okay.
Because when I came back to Cage Warriors, I think he was winning fights in Cage Warriors, and I was like, okay, this could be a potential opponent in the future. Because obviously, my goal when I went back to Cage Warriors was to win the belt. Like that was pretty much one of the first things I wanted to do. So I already knew of him. I knew that could have been a potential opponent. And what I can say about him is that you know, he's very well versed at every area. You know, he's not been training very long, but in the short space of time, he's managed to accumulate a good amount of skill in every single department, but nothing stands out. You know, nothing is really so crazy amazing that it stands out for him. Do you get what I'm saying? So the fact that he's well versed everywhere but nothing really stands out means that I can pick certain holes in his game. And look, I'm also very well versed in every area. You know, so I've got many little tricks up my sleeve, things that people have started to see more of in my most recent fights, and they're going to see a hell of a lot more of that on June 17th. I'm going out there to finish. I'm going out there to finish the fight. I've got to show that I'm levels above, and yeah, man. So this is what I'm ready and what I'm prepared to do. I've been training very hard, and I'm ready to go out and put on a show. I want to put on a show for the people watching. I do have a couple of people that have come to support me at the Apex. So shout out to them. So yeah, man, I want to make it entertaining. I want to make it violent, and I want to make it, you know, I want to make it something to be remembered. So you can expect the full Baltic Gladiator to be out there on June 17th.
We look forward to seeing that. Assuming it all goes to plan, is there a name in mind? Maybe you don't have to give it here, but is there a name in mind, someone you keep an eye on you'd like to fight later on in the year if you get your will?
Do you know what? There's a lot of guys that have been matched recently, so I'm gonna have to kind of see, what, because the landscape of the light heavyweight, like kind of around like the sort of the lower end is kind of like guys are being matched up against each other, so it's kind of hard to. I've been trying to watch and see who's fought and who's not fighting. So, I don't think Tafon Chukwi has fought in a while. That'd be a good matchup with me and him. Guys like Marcin Prachnio, but he's already got a fight booked. They're going to have new guys in the division as well. Obviously, we've got Contender Series coming up also. So yeah, whoever the next victim will be, we'll be prepared. We'll be training. We're going to get ourselves ready. And like I say, full violence, full darkness. It's all coming out. We're going into battle and we're going into war, and this is what we're preparing ourselves for. So no matter what the name, it's going to be the same result. My first run didn't go well. It didn't go the way that I wanted to, but trust me, this run will.
Absolutely. We certainly look forward to following that journey and seeing who the UFC decides to give you later on in the year. Moving outside of the cage, I wanted to ask you, have you been keeping an eye on the Conor McGregor documentary? Have you been able to watch any of that?
Yes, I have. And it's mad to see the sort of things that he's had to go through, the transitions in things that have been going on in his life that's affected him, mentally as well. I didn't realize how dark of a place he went to for that, for the Khabib fight, the injuries that he had to go through, the things that, behind the scenes people don't see, the taking care of your family. And then, that also having to switch things up, thinking, oh, well, maybe I had too much of my family. Now we're going to take it away so I can go back into the darkness, if you will, again. So he's been going through a lot of like transition periods, trying to figure everything out. And it's actually quite crazy and quite amazing to see everything that has been going on. And, there's a lot of things that people see in the media and they don't really understand. You know what I mean? That people can see one thing, but in reality, there's other things going on. But you can see he is a family man. He is a loving person. He is a very nice guy. But obviously he's just had some unfortunate events that obviously he will learn from and he'll come back from. So, and they're looking to put him back into the testing pool. But yeah, it was a very insightful documentary, and it kind of makes you feel as well like you feel a bit more normal. Do you know what I mean? Like you feel like, okay, so I guess it's not just me.
Okay.
Like, there's other people that are going through similar situations and they have their own ways of dealing with it and their own ways of, but that's what makes everyone an individual. So it was an amazing documentary.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. And the reason why I brought it up is obviously in the last episode, it details the catastrophic injury that he suffered, the leg break against Dustin Poirier. And you have your own well-publicized issues with injury. And I could just imagine that you were able to relate to a lot of the things that he was going through mentally during that time when it was up in the air. People were telling him that, he may not come back. He may not be able to do what he loves to do ever again.
Yeah. I definitely had the same thing, and not only that, I also was dealing with the injury before the fight as well. This is one thing that people don't understand about fighters, and it's not just me. I know a lot of fighters go into fights with injuries, but when there's a lot of money on the line, when you feel like you're fit and well and you've been managed to work around it, you've been trained so hard, you don't want to pull out of a fight. You just want to keep going. And unfortunately, he had a load of stress fractures in his leg, and it just kind of just gave way. Same like with mine. I had 2 meniscus tears, ACL torn, MCL torn already before the fight even happened, and then it just got worse when within the fight. And this is the dark part of the game. And like I say, I think people handle things differently. I mean, obviously you don't see everything that went on behind the scenes with McGregor, but I can definitely say from my personal experience, I definitely went to a very dark, harsh place. I almost became a person that I didn't even recognize. You start to look at the world a little bit differently as well. And But in some ways, those things, I'm almost thankful for then looking at the world in that way, because it's helping me to handle situations much more appropriately, and not being, like I say, not being too blue lightsaber. You need to bring the red out sometimes. So yeah, man. Like I say, Conor had that full red lightsaber already for a long time, but he's definitely handling everything very well, and it will be very exciting to see him when he comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. Modestas, you said that when you returned to the UFC, it felt like home. Now you're back. Now you're putting on performances. You're back where you feel like you belong. Is the injury that you went through, is that sort of something that is a bit of a distant memory for you now? Is it something that you remind yourself of constantly as a bit of a motivation to keep, appreciating where you are? Or how do you handle that? Because I'm sure different people approach it in different ways.
I mean, in terms of like the leg, I don't even think about the leg, because I've had no issues with it. So
Brilliant.
it's the strongest that it's ever been. It continues to get stronger. I'm always, like I say, I'm always training. I'm always in shape. So in terms of me, being hesitant with the leg, not at all. I'm absolutely fine with it. I've been put in many crazy different positions, and it's been absolutely fine. So in that case, it's all good. But yeah, I think the whole it is a bit of a distant memory, because I'm on the next chapter. But I think a lot of people actually end up reminding me about, the moniker, the comeback king, I think is really well and true in this situation, because who else could have done, essentially because sometimes I think to myself, there's still, and I still do, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, as I'm sure many fighters are, but there's still much more to be done. Like, okay, getting back into the UFC and winning a fight, that's one thing, but to be a UFC champion, that's the other thing. That's the thing where things will really start meaning something. I remember I did a video and I said, what would it mean if everything were just to end now? Imagine looking back on my life, thinking I quit. I got a really bad injury, and then that's it. Modestas, Cage Warriors champion, fought in the UFC, and then got cut. Done. That's a shit story, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, for it to just end there, it would have been absolutely horrible. So, that was another sort of motivating factor. I wanted to show people that you can come back from adversity. There's one way for you want to kind of, I don't know how it is for other people. For me, I want to leave my mark on this world. And I know there's one way that I can do that. And the way that I can do that is to show people that no matter what situation, no matter how dark of a pit that you're in, you can come back. There are many other examples, but I want to be another example of that. I want to be an example of someone who can be extremely successful, being born from a very small country, moving country when he was very young, adopting a different accent and this and that. And then, starting from young, then leaving the sport for a little bit, then coming back into it, then having good things happen, then bad things happen. So, I just want to show that, like I say, that anyone can come back from adversity. You just got to have a strong mind, good people around you, and just keep striving for success, and just to help people with their own personal struggles in their lives. And that could be one way that I can leave my mark on the world, because every time people think about, struggles that they face, they can then look back on my story and think, well, this guy did it, and so can I. And I think that will overall make the world a better place. And that's something that really does stick quite deeply with my heart. And like I say, that's another driving factor for me to go out and be as successful as I know I'm going to be.
Well, that was incredibly inspiring, and I think that's a perfect place to leave things for today. It's going to make me get up and get my lazy ass to the gym, that's for sure. So, Modestas, I'll give you the last word. If there's any sponsors, any people, any social media that you want to plug, I'll give you the opportunity to do so now.
Yeah, so at MODYB24 is my Instagram, at Baltic Gladiator on Twitter. Facebook is just my name, but Modestas Bukauskas, it's not exactly the easiest to spell, but there you go. Obviously, I've got to thank BST Academy, Pure Jiu-Jitsu, RAS, the fan mayors, Danny, obviously my dad, my head coach, my number one guy, Will Curry as well. I've got to thank Iridium Sports Agency. Have always helped me out. Fighter Shop UK, Distinct Physiotherapy. Yeah, just everyone, Prometheus Combat as well, Hodger Gracie's Academy. So, I've got a whole Sandra Tavadze. I've got a whole host of people. Just how Lucas Klinger, who's also fighting this weekend on Fen, so check him out. Been a really amazing training partner for me. Yeah, we've got a solid team. We've got amazing people, and I'm looking forward to the future. If it wasn't for the people around me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm just very grateful and thankful. And we're going all the way to the top, baby.
Brilliant, Modestas. Thank you very much. Everyone can catch Modestas in action June 17th at the Apex fighting Zac Pauga. And it's midnight. First bout of the night, midnight in the UK. So you got no excuse to not stay up and watch it live and give him your full support. We wish you the very best of luck. Thanks so much for the time, Modestas.
Thank you so much, my brother.